Okay, thank you everyone for assembling today, our members of our youth panel. Welcome to the U.S. Embassy in Seoul, South Korea. And we are all looking forward to November 8th, which, as you know, is the next presidential election here or in Washington or in America. And the next president will take office in January 2017 and will bring a new administration in. So why don't we open the floor to some comments about your wish list for the next administration after it comes into power in January.
I'll start off. I think my wish list for the new U.S. administration is probably going to include the topic of gun reform. I mean, that's a huge problem in America right now. It's way too easy for people to just buy guns secondhand. On top of that, I really, being Korean American, I'm really looking forward to increased relations between the U.S. and Korea. I mean, they're both great trade partners, and I mean, strategically, I mean, who else does the U.S. have in this region that is so close? There's a base just right here in the middle of Seoul. And then finally, I mean, cultural exchange between the two nations. I go to the University of California, Irvine currently, and a lot of my friends are like, oh my God, Korea, like you live in Korea, I really want to go there. So yeah, cultural exchange is another one, big thing that I want to make easier. So I guess that falls under like tourism.
Okay.
Similar to a similar opinion, I'm hoping to see more interactions in creative industries like architecture, IT software, publication, music, and arts, because I think it is a way to help people understand each other in a deeper level, in both regional level and also in a global level, because creative industries usually excavate local contents and make it global. So I wish there would be more interactions in the field.
Yeah, that's a great point. Is that something that you're studying? Are you studying to join that field?
Very interested in it. Yeah, I do want to join that field. Right now, I'm studying international relations, but I'm also interested in publication and arts.
Okay. So maybe we'll rely on you to make that happen.
Thank you.
Okay. My wish for our next president is like, please frequently come to, visit the Korea and meet many young people, like visit the campuses in university and things like that, so they can hear a lot of young people's opinion and told them about the U.S. policy or something like that, so they can, exchange their opinions. But through that kind of thing, they can, share more things. And policies, opinions, what they think. So yeah, so in that way we can,
So I would say it's pretty likely that the next president will visit the region and Korea at some point during their term. But that's a great suggestion to go right to the universities and to talk one-on-one with students so they can hear more, so the next president can hear voices just like yours. Talking about what's important to the next generation. Right. So what other things are important to the next generation?
For me, I would like to see two changes. First of all, I would like to see more cooperation and strengthened relations between the U.S. and Korea, because the U.S. is a big player in almost every single field, and Korea is a big player in Northeast Asia as well. Also, not only in terms of political, economic, and social terms, but also in geopolitical terms as well. So I would like to see that happen in more positive ways. And the second thing that I would like to see is, as I mentioned, I would like to see more U.S. students coming to Korea to learn Korean language, culture, and so forth. Because for me, I go to Korea University and I major in international studies. I see a lot of foreign students, but I don't see many many U.S. students coming to Korea. I see a lot of Chinese, Japanese, and many other Asian students. But yeah, so I would like to see more U.S. students come to Korea and learn Korean language as much as Koreans are interested in the U.S. culture. And
that's a great suggestion. Like you said, a lot of Koreans go to America to study, and some Americans come here. But what are some ways that we can encourage Americans to come study abroad in Korea?
I heard that a lot of Americans come here for K-pop, but I think there should be more advanced ways of exchanging ideas. Like in my class, there was this one exchange girl from the U.S. She went to a state school. Mississippi. I don't remember her school.
Okay.
The school name. But then she came here and then she was learning Korean, and her Korean was pretty awesome. And she really knew a lot of things about Korean history as well. So that really impressed my professor. And he thought that it would be great if more American students could be as active as her. So, she was really interested in Hangul.
Right.
Yeah, so that's why she was really into like the Korean culture and history and all. She wasn't really interested in K-pop, like for some reason. So I think like these other things other than K-pop could also interest many young people.
Sure.
Can I add an opinion?
Yeah.
Like, because I hear from a lot of my friends saying that Korean history is different from American history in terms that it's usually strategic defense rather than like pioneering stuff. So it had another like interesting aspects in history. So I think history would interest and provoke a lot of interest in and help like promote Korea in a different way apart from K-pop.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, the U.S. and Korea, looking at recent history within the last 70 years, we've had a lot of shared history. So that's one more way that you can find sort of, when people have something in common, it's easier to identify with and understand them and to forge friendships. So history is certainly one way. Architecture, music. How about you guys? What would you like to say?
Well, moving on to the other topic,
Sure.
I want to see more cooperation on climate change issue, especially emission trading scheme, so-called ETS. Because last semester, I once read an article that says areas participating in ETS accounted for more than 40% in the global GDP last year, like 2015. So I think if United States and South Korea cooperate more on that area, it will benefit both countries, like economically and environmentally.
I mean, that's been a big topic recently in the U.S. and Korea about certain car companies and emissions testing. And so what made you passionate about climate change?
Well, last year I took a class called Green Social Work because I'm majoring in social work.
Okay.
And in that class, during the whole semester, we talk about how to reduce the green gases and how to stop climate change. And especially these days in the Southeast Asia regions, there are a lot of people like so-called environmental refugee, I guess, because they're losing their homeland because of the climate change. Like specifically in the Asia Pacific Ocean regions, like the Kingdom of Tonga or Tuvalu or Nauru, like they're dying because of the natural disaster due to the climate change. So that makes me to have a more interest in this issue.
Sure. I mean, that's an issue that affects not just Korea, not just America, but like you said, anyone, especially coastal populations. I read recently that America just had its first climate change refugee. Someone in Louisiana had to move because of the issues surrounding the challenge posed by climate change. So that's really important, and thank you for bringing that up. And I think car emissions are one big source of those of the problem, right? So.
Well, what I wanted to bring up is public security in the U.S. and Korea. There's a lot of big problems recently in the U.S. with police brutality and everything. And if you compare the law enforcement between Korea and the U.S. or any other country, they don't have as much problems, I feel like, as the U.S. with shootings and the brutality cases of unfair treatment. If you look at the police in Korea, I've seen most of them, when they see someone drunk, like on the ground or something, they go and help them, assist them, like what they're supposed to do, instead of going the easiest route of taking them straight into a drunk tank or something. I've seen cops here pick someone up off the ground, put his shoes back on, put him in a cab, and make sure he gets home. In the U.S., I highly doubt I'd ever see that in a verification.
Yeah, well, I don't want to paint too broad of brushstrokes, right? I mean, it's certainly an issue, but that compassion, you know, that's a really important for any job, really, especially one's public servants. Yeah, let's go. Why don't we take it back over here? Do you have anything to add on what your colleagues have said? So, talking about what are some other ways that we can address climate change beyond just the government level? What can we do as what can you do as the next generation?
Right. Going back to climate change, recently I read an article that a teenager, I forgot where he was living in the United States, but he brought up a petition on, I believe it was change.org, and he got enough signatures to bring it up to the congressional level, I believe. I'm a bit hazy on it, but he's making an impact by himself, just because he values nature, and he believes that future generations, not just this current generation, he's being extremely selfless and thinking about the future. You know, I mean, like, you can't just blindly just destroy the world and continue along this path of destruction. He is trying to bring up to, you know, the U.S. government that there has to be a point in time when you have to see what you're doing and see that it's actually wrong, that you need to pursue a path of clean energy, sustainable energy for the future generations. And I believe back here in Seoul, that's definitely possible. I mean, you can definitely just start a student rally at your university and bring this attention to the public and point out that greenhouse gases are a problem, and they will affect us. I mean, they have been affecting us, like you said, with people that live in coastal regions. They're being pushed to different areas and are becoming climate refugees. And I mean, think about it, if like we were to be pushed out of our homes all of a sudden one day, it would be very tragic in our lives, a very life-changing event.
Sure. So in addition to sort of multilateral international climate change agreements like the Paris Agreement, what are some things that we can do on a day-to-day basis to sort of address that issue? Recycling.
Really obsessed with recycling.
That's one thing that I've really noticed since coming here, right? There's, instead of one trash can, there's 4 or 5, right? So that's one thing that maybe when the next president visits, Americans do recycle, but it's on a different scale. It's a different system. So there's always things that we can learn, and that's one reason that it's great to travel, right? You can talk with people and learn some best practices from what from other cultures as well. So going back to when the next president, if and when the next president visits Korea for the first time, beyond visiting universities, what are some other recommendations that you have for the president to do?
I recommend visiting the Gyeongbokgung Palace wearing hanbok.
Wearing hanbok, okay.
That's a common event nowadays, like visiting Gyeongbokgung wearing hanbok, because you can enter there free if you're wearing it.
Right. Oh, I didn't know that. Okay, all right. So save a little money. I'll tell the president, you know. Oh, I like that idea. Any other ideas for future presidential itinerary on a visit to Korea?
Well, I think Hangang could be a good way because a lot of people these days, especially like 20s, go to the Hangang and eat chimek, so chicken with beer. So I guess next U.S. president will enjoy that too.
I think the next U.S. president should definitely put on their list a visit to the Korean War Memorial. I mean, the U.S.-Korean alliance has been in existence for about 70 years now, and I think it's important to always trace back your roots. This is an alliance that was formed in blood, I believe, and just paying respects is always a good thing. But to also bring to attention to the U.S. people that, you know, the Korean War is often known as the Forgotten War, and I mean, Koreans definitely have a huge impact on cultures in America. I've always grown up in communities where there has been a large Korean population. I think a U.S. president visiting the Korean War Memorial would definitely bring that to attention to the U.S. public.
These ideas are all in Seoul. How about outside of Seoul?
Oh, I recommend going to Busan then.
Where's that? Busan? Okay.
Yeah, because it's not that common, like it's not well known. Well, less famous than Busan,
Sure.
obviously, but I actually live there.
Okay,
And
all right.
I've seen some environmental changes. There's this famous river named Taewon River, and it had been extremely polluted. But in a matter of several years, the citizens living in like Busan just decided to clean up the river. And in a matter of about 2 or 3 years or so, as I know of, they cleaned up the river, and now it became like a hub of ecosystem.
Oh, okay.
With all these bamboo trees, and yeah, so I recommend visiting there.
So is that a personal invitation? Are you going to be the tour guide when the president visits?
Well, I'd be honored to.
Okay.
I think Incheon would be a great place as well.
Okay.
There are a lot of U.S. colleges in Incheon.
All right.
Yeah, and I live in Incheon.
Okay. All right.
And it's a really great place. Like the air, like there's not much pollution as much as it is in Seoul, and it's really clean. And there are a lot of foreigners, and it's really international. A lot of U.S. colleges and Koreans. There are a lot of Korean students studying in those colleges, and I think it would be great if the next president could visit not only schools in Seoul but also those places and outside Seoul to show his or her commitment to U.S.-Korea relations or something.
I recommend the Sokcho, which is the first place you can play Pokemon Go. It's like, that has huge popularity, and also, and you can see you can feel the difference of air quality and see beach and all of it. So the first thing that I told you before, the Pokemon Go thing, is the main reason for why the president should visit the Sokcho.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
I think maybe also the DMZ.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a very big tourist attraction, and a lot of people outside of Korea also, they don't know about Korea and the relation with North Korea. They just think it's a war, or it's a very dangerous place to be. Korea. One of my friends in the U.S. When I tell them I'm from Korea, they ask me from the north, or they ask me isn't it very dangerous there? And I feel like if the next president were to go visit the place, he can shed more light on how the situation is between the two countries.
Yeah.
And there's a lot more troops and tourists there, so you can also go there.
So I would recommend Kojedo.
Kojedo.
Yeah, Koje Island.
Ah, Koje
It is
Island,
not
yeah.
that famous compared to the Jeju Island,
Right.
but it's not that crowded as well.
Okay.
So you can actually relieve your stress when you walking down the beach.
All right.
And also it has a beautiful scenery, and it is amazing food.
Okay.
So I think next U.S. president can enjoy his vacation. at Koje.
Great idea. So we've heard about education, we've heard about environmental issues, we've heard about security issues, we've heard about relaxing in Korea. How about looking to improve relations in the region? Is there anything, America has strong relations with not just Korea, but Japan and the Philippines and other countries in the area. What do you hope that the next president does in order to improve those relations? Any ideas?
Me personally, I think it is going to be really, really important to resolve disputes regarding business and industries and trades, because while those are individual level interactions, and those may be the opportunities to make people understand each other in a better way, not in a bad way. But if there's conflict that's difficult to resolve, then that might be problematic. So, yeah.
Sure, talking about trade agreements, these multilateral trade agreements are definitely bringing our countries and our economies closer together, creating jobs in both places, stimulating creative industries like you mentioned, but doing our best to make sure that we can resolve those disagreements when they come up. Sure, that's really important. How about any other ideas on how we can improve regional relations?
Possibly, the U.S. and China are strong economic partners, I'd say. But on the political level, there has been some turmoil. I want to kind of shift the focus from just the top branches of the U.S. government, just the top branches of the Chinese government, and more so shifted towards just normal people, everyday people, because I know that China has their own World Wide Web. I mean, like they're pretty much blocked off from the rest of the internet, and hopefully, like there can be a way to, just kind of bypass that, so that the people from the U.S., the people from Korea, the people in China, don't necessarily have to be in person to physically interact with each other. I think if you start from the grassroots, you can definitely improve relations at the top level within the next 10, 20 years. So,
Sure. Online and offline. Right. Great.
I agree with him because in my school there's an online course system called Online Open Course or something like that. Yeah, and one of the classes was named Online Global Conversation or something like that. Yeah, it counts for like 1 credit or something. Yeah. And then like when the students sign up for that class, like they just go in the classroom and I heard, I've never taken that class before, but what I've heard is that they get to like interact with students from China, like Japan, and the U.S. and Europe, whatever, like all over the world, students from all over the world, and they get to like basically talk about like every single issue, and they can just have a really nice conversation in English. And I thought that was really great. I could just like you can just make friends like that, like in an instant. And from grassroots level, that would be a great opportunity. Definitely.
And the U.S. government, or all governments, have the opportunity to spark those interactions, right? They can happen organically, or they can be sort of encouraged, right? Exactly. Yeah, that's a great idea. We have a few minutes left. Any sort of closing thoughts that you'd like to offer? Anything that hasn't been discussed, or that you'd like to sort of emphasize? Think about your own lives, where you'd like to be in 5 years and 10 years, and then anything that leaders, the next leaders, can do to help you achieve those goals. Or just start. Why don't we start with the first question? Where would you like to be in 5 or 10 years? What's your goal? Maybe that's a difficult question.
It seems that we have to answer America.
No, I think just in your own life. I mean, do you want to be living in Korea? Do you want in the next 5 years, do you want to travel and maybe live overseas or work overseas? Or do you want to make more international friends? Do you want to work for an international company? Or do you want to become a public servant? Or any of those areas kind of touch on sort of what government can do. Or maybe not. Maybe just in general, if you have thoughts.
I really want to visit the Silicon Valley.
Okay.
Because I knew several, not my friends, acquaintance actually, but yeah, they visited Silicon Valley and they say, wow, it was awesome. There are all Googles and such famous companies were all there, and she said she learned a lot about entrepreneurship and how to manage business and everything. So I would definitely want to get more information in like technological aspects of America.
Sure. Thoughts? Closing thoughts? Last thoughts?
I mean, I just hope that the next U.S. administration can continue to strive to improve relations between the U.S. and Korea, because definitely the two countries have so much to offer to each other. We've already seen that in the past 10 years. There's been an exponential rise in tourism between the two countries, and hopefully within the next coming years, we can see that change overlap into both countries. U.S. culture being integrated into Korean culture, just both cultures feeding off the positives, and hopefully the governments can continue to work with each other to stabilize the region. I know there's been some unrest in the South China Sea. Hopefully the two countries can just work together and calm everyone down. Just say, hey, let's just all get along.
Let's just all get along. What a great message to end on. Thank you, everybody.
World peace.
Yes, well said. So I really appreciate all of you. I'm very impressed, and I wish you all the best. And yeah, thank you for being a part of the panel today.
Thank you.
Thank you.